what they believe, and it almost gets into the degree of like patronizing. So this happens a lot. And Dave Chappelle hasn't had bad shit happen, so it's like not the same thing. But like whenever you're one of those preachy comedians, it's always telling other people how to live their lives and talking down to people and making jokes about how like dumb people are or whatever. And then it turns out that you're like a weirdo and you act really bad about around women or whatever. That was really bad for Louis C.K. because it was directly contradictory with what his image is online and what people's image is of them in general. So, what about Delore? You've asked about Delore, like, holy fuck, it's like, Jesus Christ. You've asked like 50 times. Like, if you type something in chat 2 or 3 times, I've read it and I've ignored it. Yeah, I've ignored your question. Crystalia? Yeah, there's another one. What about EDP? I mean, I don't see him doing anything anymore, but I don't know. Anyway, so like for example, if people found out that think of your run-of-the-mill, super politically correct, brand-friendly Twitch streamer, like whoever it is, like whoever you have in your mind. If people found out that that person used to say the N-word with the hard R all the time, this would be probably damaging to their brand. And a lot of the people that watch them would be upset and not want to watch them anymore. But there's a lot of other streamers that are much more edgy, and if people found that out about them, it wouldn't affect them as much, because it doesn't conflict with what their brand is as much. It's not a conflict. It's the image that you project, and if the things that come out are contradictory to the image that you project, then those things will be harmful to you. You see what I'm saying? Hypocrisy is worse than any bad take. I think that hypocrisy is something that people that usually lack the sense of nuance cling on to more often than not. It's like, I don't really ever get upset about hypocrisy at all, because it's just everybody is going to be hypocritical all the time. And they're just, people are going to do whatever is convenient for them at that time, even if they say or think something different. Every person probably that steals thinks stealing is bad, but they still steal because it's convenient for them at the time. So, like, latching onto and getting upset about hypocrisy and things like that, I think that it's very much like a, it's almost always a low IQ argument or low IQ criticism. What's wrong with the one true universal moral fault? Showing your lack of wisdom because you're dumb. I'm dumb. I don't think I'm dumb for that at all. I think that there's a lot of people out there who... why am I dumb? Yeah, Zio, why am I dumb? Doesn't that show weak morals, though? Morals are not real. Some people can afford morals and some people can't. The moment that doing things that will be beneficial to you, the opportunity presents itself, all you need is the right level of motivation in order to take advantage of it. No one has morals? I think that you can make almost anybody do the most heinous, disgusting, terrible, despicable things if you give them the right reason. I think so. I think 99% of people. View is incredibly shallow. It's backed up by literally our entire society. Like, our entire society is evidence that that's exactly how people feel. Chat's young and naive, yeah. If you give people the right impulse and the right reason to do a terrible thing, they will do it in a second. Makes no sense. Give one of the reasons. People hate child labor and they buy things from companies that produce products with child labor all the time. They don't really hate child labor. If they did, they would actually stop buying the products. It's more important for them to be comfortable and feel good about themselves and have the nice conveniences of the world and not really care about those kids that are being manipulated and taken advantage of across the other side of the world. There are certain sweatshops and you know, I think this is, I don't know if this is in like Malaysia, I forgot which one. I think it was Foxconn that did this. They put nets underneath every single different story, and they would lock the people inside of the warehouses that they were forced to work in for, like, you know, pennies every single day. And they put the nets in there so the people couldn't kill themselves by jumping down. And also there was a fire one time and the people couldn't get out because they were locked in. And you can look that up and see what company it is, and you can tell yourself that you won't buy their thing. But I think that most people, whenever that thing comes out and it's on sale, or they need a new thing that's like the thing that those people make, they just buy it. And that's it. Apple didn't care? Yeah, and you'll probably buy another Apple product. I was actually, you know how like a lot of the fast food places were being like very understaffed and everything like that because people weren't coming to work anymore because they said, fuck that, I don't want to work for $8 an hour. Yo, what up, Crazy Slick? Did you guys remember that? Do you know why that was happening? It's because those people could get unemployment benefits. If you take away those benefits, those people will have to go back to their jobs. And they will. They will go back to their jobs. And the moment that you fuck with people's day-to-day lives, it's still happening. Yeah, in some places it is. Made more money on unemployment than I did from working? Yeah. And I can guarantee you, if people started going to KFC and KFC was closed during prime time and they weren't able to get their chicken strips or they weren't able to get their bucket of chicken, they're going to vote to take away those unemployment benefits because getting their chicken strips is more important than that person's life. No, I think that'll happen and it won't even be close. Probably true. And it's not about what's good or bad, it's about what is. And that is. Unemployment benefits never been a voting matter? Of course they have been. But whenever KFC is closed, it becomes a different situation. It's the same reason why people don't really care a lot about like the war in Iraq or these kinds of things. It doesn't really matter to them because it's theoretical. Who cares if people get blown up across the other world? They don't see them, they don't know who they are or anything. These are all like just theoretical things that happen that they don't really care about. It's the same thing that I said about like the child laborers. It doesn't really matter to them. These, yeah, they're abstractions. But whenever you take away somebody's chicken that they go to every Friday, that's real. And that requires immediate fucking action. It's stupid, it's selfish, it's small-minded, and it's the truth. And that's what I'm saying. And I know that like it's an unpleasant reality to confront. And I think that everybody likes to think that everybody else will go and, you know, do the right thing and everything like that. And they will. Until there's enough reason not to. Who thinks that? A lot of people do. Yeah, I think a lot of people do. This guy's sinful nature of man, the evil nature of turning a blind eye for the sake of convenience. I like, yeah, sure. Societal costs of high unemployment, higher crime, reduced rate of volunteerism. That's why unemployment benefits exist. I think there's a lot more reasons why, but yeah, this is like about like being hypocritical. Yeah, oh yeah, that's why I was talking about it. So everybody would say that those things are bad, and they would. This is like, remember what I was telling people about the other day? Like, if you're gonna like commit a crime or like do bad stuff or whatever, never try to convince yourself that it's good. Does voting with our wallet even work? I think when has it worked? Gillette, Blizzard kind of, but not really. That's because the product was bad. But yeah, all I was saying is like the not with Nestle as far as I know. Yeah, and everybody knows Nestle's bad, right? What are your thoughts on saying silence is a form of agreement? I think that saying silence is a form of agreement is usually a rationalization to be militant and aggressive towards people that don't want to adopt your point of view. It's a justification to be aggressive towards those people and to try to it's a rationalization to force those people into doing something. They're Karl Marx? No, I don't. The thing with me is like I don't really. I think that like the way that people always think about like communism, socialism, capitalism is just really stupid. And I think that these are just buzzwords that are created by media and by different types of elites that are used to keep people divided mentally and allow selective programming of people's minds in order to change their perception of things without giving them the ability to think about them themselves. Word silence is consent, and giving said opinion is also equally as wrong. Essence, as you kind of say, try to manipulate people into what their will is. Yeah, exactly. Most people that say things like, you should usually assume that the things that people say are being said because those things reinforce their worldview. And they benefit them. I have to disagree. The fact is, let me read this. It's used by propaganda extremists does not change the fact that, in any case, inaction whenever bad shit is happening, and you can help it, is helping the bad shit to happen. No, it's not. It's not, though. Not doing something isn't the same as doing something. No one has an obligation to do anything. Yeah. It can still be immoral. I don't really think so. So the reason why I don't think so is that all action and inaction is the judgment of action versus inaction is predicated on the expectation that you understand why that person is not acting. So for example, let's say, let me think of a example of this. Like, let's say you have somebody on a subway and somebody's getting mugged on the subway, and another guy is just sitting there and he doesn't do anything to stop it, and you think, wow, that guy is just letting all this bad stuff happen, and he doesn't, he doesn't care. Like, would you say this is a good example that I can use? No? Okay, well, if we can't agree on an example, you guys can give me one. Sort of not. Okay, well, give me an example. Use an example where you're not in danger. Okay. What's your one? It is a good example. Smoking indoors. I feel like that's just universally bad. Do you think you have a moral responsibility to say something if people are being racist in your workplace? A moral responsibility to say something if people are being racist in your workplace? I mean, it depends on like what you mean by that. So it's like, it's really kind of hard to say. Like, cause somebody would say like, the reason why I'm saying this is and like, what do you mean by do something? It's like that's a very, it's a very abstract idea. It's not hard. Racism is a horrible workplace. Contact HR. Yeah, I mean, you could maybe do that. It just depends on like what's really being said. Say things like morals aren't real, then you say that's universally bad. But if morals aren't real, then nothing can be universally bad or good. Yeah, because I was talking in the context of at a work environment. Being racist in a work environment is generally and universally bad. Yeah, that's what I was saying. You said that about smoking? Oh, about smoking? Well, smoking is universally bad because it affects other people in like a physical way, right? This isn't some, like, whenever you're smoking and you're smoking indoors, that smoke like physically affects other people. This isn't like a theoretical thing or anything like that. This is literally happening. So it's universally bad because it's a physiological effect versus a moral obligation. So that's the difference. Smoking is essential if you want to have break whenever you're working. I have no idea. Like, my mom smoked. I thought it was incredibly stupid. I always thought it was stupid. She smoked indoors too. That was even dumber. And it was stupid of her to do that. There's no other way that you can explain it. So anyway, doing nothing supports the status quo indirectly because to change it requires action. Yeah, I mean, to not take a choice is to take a choice, but what I'm saying is that the moral authority that you have to pressure people into taking action, I don't think really exists. Because there's a lot of people that don't want to deal with it, they don't understand it. It's kind of like whenever the whole, remember like last year whenever they had all the riots and everything? And there were some people that like didn't talk about it and other people that did, and people got mad that some people didn't talk about it, etc. And they were like, well, you should be using your platform to talk about this, etc. I disagree with that, not only on like a function, like I think that it's presumptuous. Like I don't think, like, basically, who are you to tell other people what they can use their platform for, right? Shut the fuck up. That's number one. But number two, there's a lot of people who, Zach doesn't want to say racist or bad. I'm gonna permaban you for that comment. Yeah, I'm just gonna permaban you for that comment. I don't want to deal with people that are like that. Anyway, so there's also a lot of other people that just don't really understand what's going on. And I think that's what it really comes down to. So whenever you don't understand what's going on, I think that it's important to, I don't think that anybody has the right to tell somebody else that they need to spend their life learning about something or educating themselves about the problems of other people. I think that it's a massive overstep into another person's life and their own agency. And I think that you should spend as little time telling other people what they do with their own time and what they do with their own life as possible. In situations like this, obviously, in driving and stuff like that, it's more complex. But in general, I think that's the case. Depends if you literally cause harm because they are uneducated. Well, I don't think so. I feel it's different if it's making you yourself feel uncomfortable. Well, there's some people that just don't want to deal with it. That's all there is to it. They don't want to deal with it. They're worrying about other things in their life, and that's all there is to it. The world and people are way too soft. People get harder in the 1940s whenever shit eventually hits the fan. People weren't hard in the 1940s at all. Like, they freaked out and got really upset whenever they found out that some people were Jewish or they didn't go to church. Just because people have found new stupid things to get offended about doesn't mean that people back then didn't find anything else that was stupid to get offended about. Or the Red Scare, yeah, communism or whatever. People were so strict about way more shit back then? Yeah, exactly. If people actively hurt people for their ignorance, I find it unacceptable. Well, it depends on how you define hurt. So, like, for example, like, if you get in a car and you're driving the car, and out of your ignorance of not having a driver's license or knowing how to drive, you run somebody over, I would agree with you. But if you're saying somebody's ignorance for not being as informed as you are about a political issue, and choosing to abstain from giving their opinion about it, I would disagree with you. And people making TikToks destroying the clothing rack that had the face masks. Why should I get in the middle of that? Doesn't mean I support it. Yeah, like, there's plenty of people that are on, like, probation, for example, or they have, like, a health problem, or they have some other type of issue in their life that's taking precedence, and to get mad at them for not being a vigilante in some situation is just extremely presumptuous and entitled. It only hurts. It's only if it hurts or endangers someone in a quantifiable way. I think that's a good place to start. I mean, like, every situation's different, but that's a pretty good place to start. Not everyone wants to deal with other people's bullshit. No, I don't think so. Who determines what a quantifiable way is? Bullying is just words and drives people to suicide every day. Well, that's what I said. It's a good place to start. Like, like, there's never going to be a point where you can have a one-sentence explanation of anything and have that just kind of answer every question. Yeah, there's no silver bullet solution. Do you think people have an obligation to vote? No, and in fact, I think people have an obligation not to vote if they're not informed about situations. I think that if you're not informed about what you're voting about, to a degree that you feel confident in, you should not vote for it. It's a very thin line to say it like that. No, it's not. I think it's pretty obvious. Don't vote for shit you don't understand. Like, it's not... There's no thin line. There's nothing there. It's pretty obvious. Most people don't recognize I know enough. No, and I think that most people that you would disagree with, you would tell them that they don't know enough, and they would tell you that you don't know enough, and everything like that. I think that's the case, definitely. But things like voting for everything just because it's a certain party, like voting all Democrat or voting all Republican or something like that, I don't like that. What do you think about the comments saying I would have done this in situations? Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. That's what I think. Everybody thinks that they're going to be hard ass and, you know, save the world and, you know, really do that, you know, heroic thing at that time. And it's usually not what happens. It's better to leave choice to people who know this stuff than voting for the wrong thing. Yeah, exactly. That's what I would do. Republicans in Congress. I don't really care about what's currently happening in Congress. I think the United States politics system is just full of clowns. It's for sale for the highest bidder, and the highest bidder is never the people. It's a complete joke. I pretty much hate all politicians, and every time that I can vote, that I know who I'm going to vote for, what I usually do is I vote for the person who I think is least like the people that are in office. Highest bidder is the people. It's just that our money doesn't affect the outcomes of decisions. Yeah. Yeah, I hate the government. I think that they're full of morons. I think the people that are running the country are egomaniacs, incompetent, or psychopaths. Usually all three of the above. And they have no idea what they're doing. They constantly sell us out for private interests. And if it was up to me, if you took any money from lobbying, it would not be good. Even a single cent or any sort of benefit. They get donations from corporations? Yeah, and people just let it happen because they're stupid. So that's generally what my opinion on it is. But you're not stupid? No, I don't think I'm stupid like they are whenever they describe the internet as a series of tubes, or they constantly have these different companies, these tech companies run laps around them and confuse them into different things. If you listen to some of these people debate, like even the people in the presidency ones are usually okay. But if you go down to state level and you listen to like a lot of these debates between the people that are running things, these people are fucking morons. Like, listen to the things that they say on like Twitter and things that they say personally. They're fucking stupid. Some of it sound like high school arguments. Yeah, they're just dumb. You remember like that one guy who, this is like just one example of this. Is that one guy who said that people should be able to fend for themselves whenever, and it's not the government's responsibility to deal with the problems that they were having in, what do you call it, in Texas during the power outages. And like this person was an elected official. Yeah, the Texas winter. Yeah, this is an elected official. And he's talking like a stupid 17-year-old. Elaborate, please. Well, basically he said that like this was in the midst of like a massive, snowstorm that was killing a bunch of people and causing millions of people to like not have electricity, water, or power, or all of the above. And this person went on Twitter or Facebook or something like that to say that it's not the government's fault, that all of the government systems went out of order, and it's people's responsibility to be responsible for themselves. Pretty much. Yeah, that's effectively what they said. He wasn't even in Texas? No, well, I think that's two different people. You're thinking of Ted Cruz. You gotta wait out the boomers. They all have to die. It's really funny that you think that, because it implies that you think that our generation is going to be any different. It won't be. It's going to be the exact same. And you didn't riot? What a freaking statement. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, right? Is like, well, I didn't riot because you didn't riot, and you didn't riot because I didn't riot, and so nothing happened. And that's how things go. So yeah, I mean, I don't really think that's at least like that's my that's my opinion on it. About AOC triggers right wingers, it doesn't matter. Like, none of these politicians or people or anything like this matter. The only thing that matters is the idea and the direction that society goes in. The people are merely the messenger. It doesn't really. It's just I don't care about any of them. It doesn't make a difference to me. Be a centrist. I'd rather be a centrist than an extremist. I think that like really I have a lot of like super extreme opinions and stuff like that, but it's funny that like people don't even I think people don't even really like care. What do you think of voter ID? I think people should have to have an ID to vote. I think most people think that. Centrists can't do anything impactful. I mean, I'd rather, like... The thing is that... I don't really know if that's entirely true. Yeah, I don't know about that. You don't need everybody to do something impactful? Yeah, that's true too. The issue is it should not be hard to get valid ID. It's not hard to get a valid ID. I've gotten an ID before. It's not hard. Well, if you can't read or write, good. Then I don't want you to vote either. Yeah, true. That would be easily uninformed. Yeah, if you can't read or write, you're a fucking idiot. Like, that's all there is to it. It's literally all. I mean, yeah. There's nothing else to say. I mean, in English. Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, the thing is, like, so much of American culture, like, if you don't understand English, you probably don't understand a lot about American culture. That's the truth. Like, because it's the same as, like, if I don't really understand Chinese culture or Japanese culture or French culture or anything like that, because I don't even speak the language that they speak over there. I don't know how people talk. I don't know how people act. I don't have any idea. So if I can't understand even what the people are saying there, then I've got no fucking business voting for what they should be doing. Language is culture. And if you don't understand the culture of a country, you shouldn't be voting for it. It's that simple. Do you understand Australia's culture? No, I don't. The truth is I don't. I don't live there, I've never been there, and I wouldn't tell them what to do either, because I don't live there. Don't know anything to do with it? Yeah, I know, Towers. And that's the thing, is, I don't really, even with, like, other people in, like, just different situations, I think that, like, a lot of people want to say that, like, doing X or Y thing is better for a country or not, but, like, I usually try to avoid talking about that stuff because I don't live there. I don't understand what they're going through or what's going on or what their culture is or anything like that. Society doesn't have value, people do. I think society does have value. Yeah, the idea that just because a person exists, they should be entitled to everything that other people are entitled to, especially things that are earned, I think is silly. It's childish. Such as, like, voting, right? That's what I was saying. Is, like, just because somebody's there. I mean, if you can't read or write and you're trying to vote, I don't want you to vote. That's it. And it doesn't matter, like, if it's a person's valid or not, just some bullshit like that. It's common sense. Being able to write your name doesn't give you a more important political opinion? I bet the two were really, really well connected. And if you took a sample of 1,000 people that can't read or write, and you ask them what they think about, I don't know, any political issue, I wonder the answers that you would get. Like, yeah, it does. Like, yeah, it's just like, this is, it's such an intellectually dishonest thing to say. It's incredibly disingenuous. Yeah, exactly. COP23 recommends ideal citizens stop playing video games and only stream for a minimum of 2 hours. Oh, I don't even know what that is. Only point of democracy is that everyone can vote. It's not supposed to be a democracy. You just allow random people to vote, then that's a slippery slope. That's fine. I think that in general I'd rather have less people voting than more. We already disallow people that are felons from voting. There's an age that you can vote. Like 15-year-olds can't vote. I think that there are plenty of exceptions to not being able to vote. A slippery slope is not always true. What if someone says to draw the line at not having a bachelor's or master's degree? Would you be fine admitting you're not educated enough to have a high level of writing? Someone looks down on you. So this is like, again, I think this is like a very intellectually dishonest perspective. That just because somebody has a higher level of education, that it just automatically makes them more... I think these are people that are like terminally online. Like, this is like a terminally online perspective to have. That it's the same thing to expecting people to have to read and write is the same thing as expecting people to have a master's degree. Like, there's just like no nuance or context behind that at all. It's just... It's just completely... Like, yeah, this is a terminally online, intellectually dishonest perspective. Exactly, now you're going against your own other opinion? No, it's using the same logic extended. Well, yeah, of course. No, you're absolutely right. It's using the same logic and extending it to an illogical conclusion. That's the way it goes. And so, I don't have a problem with that, is because I think that using, like, those types of thought experiments are interesting, but I don't think that they're really productive. So disenfranchise people based on your own criteria of intelligence, but won't accept if it came down on you? Yeah, because I don't think that's fair. Of course. Yeah, I'm drawing a line in the sand that I think is a benchmark, and if people don't meet that, then I think that they shouldn't be able to. That's hypocritical? No, it's not. It's common sense. This is, again, the terminally online perspectives. It's reasonable and sensible. Yeah, this is just... It's just stupid. Fair to say not allowing people to read or write is bringing us back to the slave age. Oh, shit. No, I don't really think so. To me, I don't really care. Like, basically what this person's saying is like what the it's really what the form of it's bringing us back to feudal age. Yeah, well, whatever. But like what I'm saying is like these types of like where is the line, basically? Like at one point or another, people decided that 18 years old is the year that you should be able to vote. Like once you're 18 years old, you should be able to vote. And being 18 and being 17 and being 19 are pretty damn close to the same thing. And at the end of the day, it's arbitrary. Not legally? Yeah, but legal is not what it's based on, right? It's a legal adult, exactly. But why is it a legal adult rather than 16 or 17 or 19 or 21? Right, this is all an arbitrary assessment. And I think that whenever you make whenever you have to draw a line in the sand at one point or another, I don't think that you should be afraid to draw that line as long as it makes sense to draw it in the position that you're in. Right? 18 makes sense in a lot of ways, but so does 21 or 16 or 17 or 19. And to a certain degree, things are the way they are because eventually this is just what we decided. So I think whenever you really look at speed limits is another thing, right? Why is the speed limit 30 miles an hour and not 33 or 35 or 25? To a very large degree, most things that people say and most laws are to a degree arbitrary, especially whenever you get down into numbers and a spectrum. Arbitrary but reasonable? Yeah, exactly. Speed limits are based on the science of physics? No, they're not. There's been speed limits that have been changed in my in my area by 10 miles an hour like 4 times. Like I know this sounds like this is what you think it is, but no, it's most of the time they just fucking have a few different benchmarks they use, and then they're like, yeah, this looks like 30, or this is 40, and this is 35. Yeah. Yeah, it's not actually like 100% accurate. What speed limit's obviously arbitrary, but general ideas have physics behind them. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Is like you have a general idea. This is the thing, right? So the general idea is that people need to have a certain degree of education or understanding of the culture or whatever to vote. And then the arbitrary point is what that is. You understand? It is done on science? No, it's loosely based on science. You're right. But there are many, like, who decides? Well, the most people. People get together and decide. That's who. Like, it's not, what do you mean, who decides? It's obvious. Yeah. It's not, I feel, I don't know if this is, like, supposed to be, like, some kind of, like, oh, but who gets to decide that? But, yeah, that's how it works. People get together and decide what's going to happen. that people complain and they lowered the speed limit to 15. Yeah. Yeah, and there's been other times where people have complained and they've increased it, and you know, it's just, as I said, I've seen speed limits in my area be changed all the time. Like, there's been roads and the speed limit has been changed 3 times. Up, and then down again. If there was any sort of, like, real fucking science behind this, then it would have been figured out at the beginning. But clearly, this is a gray area. Not go by statistic, it's just culture. Yeah, I mean, there's the science, the decisions are political. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that the decisions and everything about them and all this stuff is to some degree made up. And I think that just because things are made up doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to divine what the best option is. But you just have to do it going into it knowing that what you're doing is not some sort of infallible decision. It's not the only thing that can be done. It's just you're trying to take the best possible course of action. You say a person who's uneducated about a topic is less valuable about topic, yet speaks so negatively about crypto. Your name is literally Blockchain Andy. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to permaban you. Followed 1 hour ago, trying to start in drama, okay? Also, if you want to be very specific, I said not voting for things. And I'm not voting against or for crypto. So technically, it's not even considered. Is woke culture a civil religion? In my opinion, I think that the entire woke culture, I dislike a lot of the ideas of woke culture, and I also dislike people that use the term woke culture. I think these are just little petty squabbles that are created by, you know, multinational, multi-billion-dollar, sometimes trillion-dollar media conglomerates to get people to fight with each other and get their minds attached to these stupid little ideas. Yeah, they're just stupid. That's just culture war bullshit. Like, do I care about some of that stuff? Yeah, of course I do. But, it doesn't really matter. Like, compared to some of the other stuff that's happening. Why not focus on educating voters rather than taking away their rights? Well, yeah, I think you should do both. Yeah, it's not like it's one or the other. People use woke or still asleep, ignorant of subject they're so passionate about. Well, I don't really care about the term or like anything like that. It doesn't really matter to me. Educating in what? I think people in general are not very educated. I think one thing that the general population here in America is not educated in is statistics. I think most people in the country don't fundamentally understand statistics at all. And I think that simultaneously statistics are used all the time to justify and explain things in ways that are misleading. It's kind of like, I think, here's a great example. This is an example of statistics being used to mislead people. This one right here. About this group that's being, calling for Bobby Kotick to resign. This is presented as if this is like an opposition, but these people are 0.6% of the ownership of Activision Blizzard. And these types of things are used because people... The reason why an article like this immediately has legs and starts running is because people want to believe that it's true. They want to believe that something is going to happen. They want to believe that justice will be done and that people are going to be held accountable. So an article like this is written and promoted. This is not Wowhead's fault, right? They're just reporting on what other people are reporting on. To some degree, I think that they should I think that it should be written down somewhere in here, especially because this is not just a verbatim, they're not just typing what these people said and then putting it up there. These people, Wowhead is clearly providing context around it, and I think that they should have provided context as to how much of a factor these people are in all of the stock, which is less than 1%. You see what I'm saying? It does say? Am I not reading it? Well, this, oh, it is. I didn't see the yellow. I was only reading the gray, yeah. Yeah, then this is a really well-written article. Or well-written, explanation. Yeah, I don't know how to fucking say his name. But this guy, he's like one of the warriors. He posts on like some of the warrior discords, etc. But yeah, this is good to put this in there. Why do they disable comments? Because it's easier for them to disable comments rather than try to moderate ones that people just go crazy on. It's just easier for them. Yeah, good catch, chat. The point's still valid. It happens all the time. Yeah, it definitely does. And I think that like the original article might have omitted this part. And I think that people, like one thing that people don't understand really in America is they don't understand a lot of, they're not taught math that's useful. And instead they're taught math that's useless. Being able to divide fractions doesn't matter and nobody cares about it. Being able to balance a budget does. Like in my opinion, I think that delete Algebra 2 and replace it with accounting. You need calculus? No, you don't. Nobody needs any, most people don't need any math above an 8th grade level. No, you don't need that at all. Programmers? Yeah, and I'm pretty sure people that are doctors need to, they need to know some extra stuff too. Calculus develops your brain, Jesus Christ. I find that to be such a, like, you could make the argument that by teaching algebra you are indirectly teaching logic. Yeah, sure. But to say that it develops your brain in a way that other types of learning would not, I think is just very silly. And also it's useless as well. I don't think that it helps people at all. Yeah, statistics or accounting. Like, in my opinion, I wouldn't teach algebra in high school at all. I think it's a complete waste of time. It has no functional value for most people's lives, and it's a waste of time. And on top of that, most people forget it completely because they're not using the information. I think a really good example was, like, if I were to give people, you know, a finals level Algebra 1 test, I think most people above the age of 30 would fail that test. And the reason why they would fail that test is they forgot it. And the reason why they forgot it is because they don't use it. Need algebra for statistics, though? That's the thing, right? Is like basic algebra. It's like, how do you avoid that? No, you're definitely right. But I think that also, like, if you teach algebra in a way that's functional for like an average person, I think that it's easier for people to latch onto it and understand it, rather than teaching theoreticals. Like, I think that the more abstract and the more theoretical math becomes, the harder it is for people to learn. Accounting is just algebra? I mean, like, not always. I mean, like, basic accounting is not even algebra. But sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. It's the most intellectual piece of work that you've read? I don't know. It depends. Everybody has a different definition of intellectual. Do you believe Tupac's still alive? No. Replace PE with skill courses and keep algebra? No, I think being physically active and healthy is very important. And I don't think you should replace PE at all. I think it should be mandatory for everybody. Unless you have a legitimate, like a legitimate health concern. Yeah, you're not replacing PE. There's too many fat people. You know what fat people do? They get sick faster and they die earlier. And they waste your fucking tax money whenever it happens. It's not good for anybody to be out of shape and overweight. PE doesn't stop eating donuts? No, but it burns the calories that you get from eating the donuts. Is coming? No, I mean, like, I've been personally affected by this, right? With my mom, like, she was overweight. If she was a healthy weight, the odds are she wouldn't be dead. And that's just the fucking truth. That's all there is to it. You don't see a lot of old fat people. Think about all the only old fat person is Santa Claus, and he's not real. Think about that. Smoking as well? Absolutely. It's like a lot of the people that have died from COVID, like a very large amount of them were overweight. It was a very big overlap and things like that. Yeah, being like, I think that like being overweight is one thing, but like being morbidly obese is bad. Period. Like it's just bad. There's no going around it. There's no excuses for it. I mean, sometimes there are, right, medical problems, but in general, it's just bad. That's it. It's not healthy at any size. No. Do you exercise regularly? I try to, yeah. About body positivity? I think that you can be positive about your body without, like, I don't think that you should make fun of people and, like, shit on people for being fat, but I think that it should be acknowledged as something that's unhealthy and bad for you. Does that make sense? So is your lifestyle? You can change it unless you want to go same route as your mom? Yeah, I thought about that a lot. But the thing is, like, also, like, I don't ever say, like, healthy at, you know, drinking 15 sodas a day, right? I very regularly and very often said what I eat and what I drink and the way I live is not the way that a normal person should live. And no mere mortal can live with Asmongold, right? I've said this many times. Yeah. A lot, actually. Exactly. Teaching math in school and other meaningless stuff is important because it's hard to discover other passions otherwise. Yeah, I just don't think you need to... I think if somebody's not passionate about math, having them take Algebra 2 is not going to make them passionate about math. Yeah. Fat shaming works to help people lose fat. Well, so does cutting off someone's leg. But just because something works doesn't necessarily mean that's what you should do. I think that, like, there's a normal middle ground that most people realize, that you can acknowledge that it's unhealthy and bad to be severely overweight while simultaneously not using that as an excuse to bully people under the guise of thinking that you're helping them. I think that's what most people think. Some people prefer a logic aspect of algebra to basic arithmetic of beginner's math. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I've been to a lot of Algebra 2 classes, and I think most people fucking hate it, and that's just what the truth is. Are there some people that are different? Then yeah, sure. I think if you look at the majority of people, you're gonna pretty much establish a pattern really early on. That's just coping. Like, I mean, holy fuck. Someone's really that concerned about someone's weight, don't neg them, bring them into the gym, positively encourage them. I mean, that's like an interpersonal level, right? Affirmative positive reinforcements, way to go with losing fat. I mean, I don't think it's really the answer. Like, there are some people, like, let's be honest, right? There are some people that they got fat shamed and people made fun of them for being fat their whole life. and then it caused them to lose weight. And now they're not fat anymore because that happened. Really, the way that I look at it is that what is the impulse behind the behavior? So I think that usually people that make fun of fat people are not trying to make them lose weight, and those people don't actually care about their health. I think people are usually making fun of people for being fat because they think it's funny or because they don't like the person. This has nothing to do with improving their life. This has nothing to do with holding them to a high standard or motivating them. The only reason they want to do it is because they have somebody that they can be abusive towards, and they have an excuse to do it. It's that simple. So I think that really, I always try to never side with people that have malicious intent. And I think this is an example of that. Fuck Greek. I don't know why people make fun of Greek. I mean, like, Greek lost weight. He's doing well, and there it is. Good for him. Displacing your insecurities on another person. I don't think it's necessarily displacing insecurities. Doing well. Yeah, I think Greek's doing all right. This always could be better, but just doing okay. Fat shaming isn't okay, and neither is celebrating it. Yeah, there you go. Good way to say it. Do you think history should also be optional? I think that to a certain degree, history informs how you're going to vote, and what like things that you should know about. I'm trying to think about like what really. Let me think. Respecting your country is important. Yeah, history is essential. I think that without history, you're just bringing up a new generation of slaves or enslavers. No, there'll be, I guarantee you at some point in the future, there'll be slavery again. And they'll know that it was bad, and they'll do it anyway. It's not like the people that had slaves thought that they were doing favors to them. Some people told themselves that, but I think that everybody knew that it was bad. Probably slavery isn't going around right now. I don't give a fuck what's happening in like Africa or something like that. Like, you're right that there is slavery, but like I don't. This is not a big deal to me, right? Like, what they do over there is whatever. I'm talking about here in America. There's slavery in America? Well, like people in jail? I mean, like, not really though. There's not really slavery in America. Prison's technically slavery? Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. Like, besides that, I mean, even that's like debatable. Wage slavery, you could kind of argue, in my opinion. No, I don't think so at all. I think that comparing wage slavery to real slavery is the epitome of privilege. Wage slavery is nothing like real slavery. Like, imagine thinking working a shitty job is the same as actually being owned by somebody as an object. Human trafficking? Yeah, but the difference between human trafficking is that it's illegal. Like, slavery wasn't illegal. People push shopping carts for 6 hours a day, comparing themselves to people who got whipped and lived in pens. Yeah, and they could just be killed whenever they wanted. Like, again, it's just like, as I said, it's just like, I don't use the word privilege a lot because I think it's kind of like cringe the way that a lot of people use it now. However, I think that comparing working a dead-end shit job to actual slavery is 100% privilege. And it's not, it's super cringe. Ninety percent of the world makes less than 30K American, which is statistically what you need to raise a family and healthy. Well, a lot of other places don't have the same standard of living or the cost of living as America. So I think that, like, that's an extremely disingenuous statistic to use. Yeah, cost of living is much lower in other places in the world. Do you think working class should rise up in America and carry out a general strike? Working class in America should rise out and carry out a general strike. To do what? Well, what do you mean to do what? It's obvious. What would be the end game? Wait, why are these questions? Why am I getting these questions? What do you think the end game is? Better treatment and more money. Like, what? What do you think they want? Yeah, what's the end? Or what do they want? Yeah, of course. I do think that, like, to a certain degree, there is something to be said with some unions being meet the new boss, same as the old boss, right? 100%. Multiple logical extremes to that question. Yeah, I mean, logical extremes are almost never good, no matter what. Like, I don't really entertain a lot of logical extremes in terms of actual reasons not to do something, because almost anything taken to its logical extreme is usually bad. Like, there's almost nothing that can be taken to a logical extreme and not be turned into being ridiculous. So it's not, as I said, it's a good thought experiment, but it's not really useful. Unions gave us 8-hour workday. I'm not really sure, but like I mean that, like, I don't know the history of it. But yeah, I in general do think that, like, yeah, workers should they should unironically rise up. I think people in general should. I'm just waiting for somebody else to do it, and I think they're waiting for me to do it, and so it'll happen any day now. Gamers rise up. Well, what about gamers only? Here's the thing. I want to put this into context. If every single person in World of Warcraft decided that they were going to unsub because of store mounts, and they said, we will not subscribe to your game ever again if you do a store mount, Blizzard would take store mounts out of the game that day. Completely. That's impossible. It's not if you have enough. Nothing is impossible if you have enough people. Yep, whenever you get enough people together, you can do anything you want. Good or bad. Hmm. People are still playing, are still there, don't care what Blizzard shit, it's never done. Well, yeah, but that's like, that completely ignores the context of what I was saying. Right? Is that January 6th riots prove that? No, they didn't. Biden still fucking took office. No, they didn't. They didn't do anything. It did nothing. Yeah, they just got cleared out of there in a few hours. There's a few morons, and then it was over. So it doesn't work then. No, there wasn't enough people. Yeah, there wasn't enough people. Does slash camp work? No, it doesn't. Oneida went to jail. They got someone killed. Yeah, of course. There's not enough. The thing is, that's what I was saying, is that once you have enough people together, short-sighted, you could easily see the potential if there is something more organized. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Is that if you get enough people together, they can do anything they want. If everybody here in Austin, like a good example of this is like the mask laws. I've seen a lot of videos and things like that, like mask mandates and stuff like this, of enough people just deciding collectively in a city, we're not going to listen to the police, we're going to do what we want, and we don't care what they say. And this happened here in Austin. There's a mask mandate. There was. I don't know if there still is. And nobody follows it. They can't arrest everybody. The government can't do anything. What do you call it? The companies just do whatever they want. And at a certain point, it just doesn't matter. I think government ban crypto then if they can't force people to wear masks. Because it's not something that affects everybody. The less people that are affected by something, the easier it is to control them. Yeah, it's that simple. Isn't the mandate for a mandatory mask lifted in Texas? I have no idea. I genuinely do. I have no clue. I don't care. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, that's basically it. Basically, everyone should start using crypto so they can't shut it down. Yeah, if enough people do something, then they can't really do anything about it. Yeah, if everybody did something, like, that's the thing. You're absolutely right. If enough people do something, they can do whatever they want. But I just don't think it'll happen. Like, I think that your misunderstanding whenever I talked about this the other day was that I was not saying that there was no possible way for this to happen. I was talking about my assumption of what will happen. This is what I think will happen. Vast majority of people don't hold enough crypto to truly matter. Currently, I agree. Yeah, exactly. If everyone owns slaves and nothing can be done about it. Well, you were right. That's literally what happened. They had to do a whole war about it because they couldn't do anything about it. That's literally what happened. They fought a whole war about it. Unbanned blockchain Andy needs to be here for this discussion. Oh yeah. I disagree with you saying slavery will exist again. Not to be a legal and acceptable norm in Western society, at least. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I think, do you want to hear like my insane opinion, and then I'm probably going to go to bed? I think that once automation takes control of a large enough percentage of jobs, that people will be forced into effectively neo-feudalism, and only people that have access to a large amount of resources, it will just like skyrocket the wealth inequality. Like, you think this is bad, this will be like nothing. This will be like a communist paradise to how it's going to be. And you're going to have people that have all of the resources and people that don't have any of the resources. We're going to go right back to neo-feudalism. People's value is going to be basically at the value of their organs, and you're going to have no class mobility at all. And there's going to be nothing people can do about it because so much of the military technology is automated and controlled robotically. So I think that's what's going to happen. We have automation technology and we have multiple clients that are automating just to get rid of employees. It's happening? Well, of course it is. Why wouldn't it be happening? Yeah, Skynet controlled by the 1%, exactly. And people won't really have a means to fight back because, like, military technology right now is just, like, for example, like in the Revolutionary War, you know, the English had muskets and the Americans had muskets. Now, you know, you've got an AR-15 and the government has a fucking satellite that can shoot a nuclear bomb at your house. Like, it's basically like the power scaling. Like in the Revolutionary War, both people were level 60, and now it's like the government's in Mists of Pandaria, and the players are still leveling through Outland. Or the people are still leveling through Outland. WoW analogy? Yeah, but I'm not wrong, am I? Second Amendment was meant to prevent this. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna shoot a tank? They wrote the Second Amendment before tanks were even made. You can't beat a drone with heat-seeking missiles. Vietnamese and the Taliban won, Asmon? No, the Vietnamese and the Taliban didn't win. Blackwater and a lot of these other military contracting companies won. I mean, do you really think that do you really think that they couldn't have dealt with that? Really? I don't even... Yeah, I'm sorry to say, but I will not accept that with all of our technology and everything that we have, that it would not have been very, very easy to solve that problem. So why'd they withdraw them? Public sentiment. People were pissed off about it, and they made a bunch of money off of it, and that was it. I think most wars are started because of, you know, political reasons. That's my opinion. So because of oil? Well, it's a political reason too. Yeah, it's like money or something like that. Most wars are started for political reasons, profound as fuck. I mean, like, I'm not the first person to say it. I don't think it's profound at all. I think that most people think that. Yeah, I don't think there's any, yeah, this isn't like, I don't think that I'm super smart for saying this. Yeah. Because wars are started by governments, doesn't that mean that they're political by default? Yeah, but I think that whenever I say that they're started for political reasons, I think people know what I'm saying. Taliban won because they got balls. They fought for 40 years against Soviet and US won. Do you know the last person to take over and control the Middle East was? Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan was the last person who did that. And let's be honest. How do you think Alexander? Genghis Khan was so brutal. Yeah, think about how brutal Genghis Khan probably was. Yeah. They changed the carbon footprint of the planet, yeah. Google Timor, Genghis Khan 2.0, 100 years later. Yeah, all I'm saying is that if you want to control and like be that aggressive, you just have to be completely fucking brutal. And I don't think that most people would want the government to do that. Oh, not fly today? Well, it probably would if it was like right after September 11th or something. I think people would be fine with it. Like if you had like terrorist bombings all the time, people would have no problem with bombing innocent villages. They had no problem doing it in World War II. That wasn't even affecting people at their own homes. People would be fine. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, again, that's like kind of what I said. Like, yeah, Dresden, yeah, good example. That's like what I said about like people will throw away their morals if they feel like they're threatened. Nazi said all you have to do to control people is tell them they're under attack. I think people should listen very closely to what Nazis said about propaganda. It was extremely effective. They really knew what they were doing. It convinced a lot of people here in America too. It's I think it's always important, Soviets as well, yeah. It's always important to not just assume that like your enemies and people that you disagree with and don't like are just comic book villains. I think it's always important to respect the strengths of your enemies and people that you dislike, because if you don't do that, you can never really beat them. Do you think Bobby Kotick will resign? I guess, yeah, I'll talk about the Bobby Kotick shit. Yeah, and then I go, I don't think that... It depends. So if Bobby Kotick resigns is based off of this. If this stock still keeps going down, then he'll resign. If it doesn't, if the stock flatlines here and nothing really happens to it, then he won't resign. Sony's weighing in on it? Yeah, but who gives a fuck? Like, the thing is that if it keeps going down, they'll kick him out because they're losing money. These people don't care about sexual harassment. They don't care about any of this stuff. It doesn't make a difference to them. The only thing they care about is making their money. And if Bobby fucks with their money, Bobby's out on his ass. But the reality is that Bobby has been making them a lot of fucking money. A lot of fucking money. And before this last bit of bullshit, the stocks were up. And this is throughout, you know, probably like one of the worst things that could have possibly happened to them. Like, when did that happen? It was like right here, right? Was it July? No, it was right here. June? I don't really remember when this was. But it happened like very soon after I started playing Final Fantasy XIV, I remember. It was like maybe right here and it went down. I wonder how he's responsible for the money they made. I have no idea, it doesn't matter. The reality is the company has gone up in value substantially. Look at this. When did Bobby Kotick take over? Let's see. So, Jesus Christ, it's so fucking bright. 2006. Okay. Combined company 2008. So Bobby takes over right here. And somewhere around here, like let's say right here. And the stock was at $9. Wrong? Wait, what? Well, when did he take over? Wait, what are you saying wrong for? He took over in the 90s? Here, let me read it to you. Uh, 1991? No, this is whenever he bought a stake in Activision. Having a stake in the company is very different than being the CEO. Shareholders Activision Blizzard approved Kotick as CEO of the combined company on July 9th, 2008. He was CEO in 1991. He was the CEO of Activision. Okay, well, let's say this. Here's Blizzard and Activision in the merge. Also, Sharp Drop 2008 was him. Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah, this is whenever they combined. CEO of Activision. So he was the CEO of Activision. And like Activision Blizzard merged. It's like, yeah, what does that really mean? Either way, right? Like, let's say, so this is whenever they became Activision Blizzard, right? 2008. So the company's value went up insanely high. Like, let's be honest, like, this is massive. So, I mean, like, yeah, why would they get rid of Bobby? What happened in 2019 to cause the dip? I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember why this was. Financial crisis? I have no idea. COVID, BFA. Yeah, but like, I mean, one expansion coming out, like, I mean, it explains that. I mean, holy fuck. Like, it went down. Fuck, that's insane. Diablo Immortal announcement? Oh, you're right. Yeah. No, it wasn't Hearthstone drama at all. It was the Diablo Immortal announcement. Oh, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm tired. They'll kick Bobby out if he starts losing him too much money. But they're gonna stick by him. They don't really care about his morals or any of this other bullshit. And none of that matters to the stockholders. They'll just keep him if he's making him money. That's it. Alright guys, I'll see you later. Peace. I'll probably stream tomorrow for the new patch. See ya.